What's going on, guys? We got the FOMC today. We had CPI come out. It came in under expectations, and it looks like the market's doing pretty well today. We're going to talk about CPI. We're also going to talk about Bitcoin, what's going on with the spot Bitcoin ETFs lately. We're going to look at the best performing miner today so far, and I'll give you guys an update on CleanSpark's chart. Now, getting right to CPI. CPI came in under expectations. Year over year, we were expected a 3.4% read. We got a 3.3. And CPI month over month was flat, beating forecasts of a 0.1% rise. Core also came in under expectations, giving us a 0.2% read, which is better than the expectation of a 0.3% rise. Now, I'll leave this down below if you guys want to look over it. It talks about what happened to Bitcoin's price because of CPI. It talks about the upcoming Fed meeting, how the expectation of rate cuts was at the beginning of the year versus now. Yada, yada, yada. If you want to read it, check it out down below. And Bitcoin is back where it started from yesterday's drop. We did see a big drop yesterday. Bitcoin went all the way down to the 50 MA before bouncing and recovering. Because of the CPI read we got here today, the market's looking at the possibility of potentially more rate cuts down the road. The market thinks Jerome Powell might be somewhat dovish today in the upcoming meeting, and Bitcoin, the miners, the general market is rallying. We are now back to only about a 5% move to the upside to see new all-time highs for Bitcoin. It is not far away. And what did we see from the spot Bitcoin ETFs yesterday? Well, of course we saw some outflows. Bitcoin did drop pretty hard, and it's not too surprising to see outflows from that day. We did see $200 million in net outflows ahead of the FOMC meeting. The thing to realize here is, like yesterday we talked about this, there was a 19-day consecutive inflow run among the 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs. Just recently we saw some outflows because of the upcoming CPI and the potential uncertainty there. Because of the CPI read we got, the market is projecting we might have a possibility of 2 rate cuts this year. The possibility of it becomes higher than before we got the CPI reading. I'm sure the Fed will likely say it depends on upcoming data. The same old thing they've been saying this whole time. We also had some news of Trump meeting with Bitcoin miners. Keep in mind, I have no opinion on Trump and Biden. They both received lobbying money. CleanSpark, Riot, and Marathon Management all went to the event. 3 of the top 5 largest Bitcoin miners. Now, looking at CleanSpark, most of the miners across the board are doing very well today. No surprise seeing Bitcoin towards 70,000. The miners are seeing a nice recovery day. One thing I'm worried about is CleanSpark does have a gap here. We may go down to 16 to fill it. One thing to be aware of. But I do expect CleanSpark to generally fill out this broadening pattern it's been in. One thing you also want to watch out for is a good break out of this descending resistance. We have definitely reacted to it a few different times. Once we can get a good break out of it, a candle to close out of it, we would be looking pretty good there on a breakout. And something like that already happened with Terawulf. You see this descending resistance here. This is definitely a different pattern. It has higher lows but lower highs, whereas CleanSpark had a clear level of support while seeing lower highs. But regardless, just like with Terawulf seeing this breakout, I would expect a nice breakout, a nice reaction to the breakout of that descending resistance from CleanSpark. Terawulf is having a nice move today. There is a gap up here. I would be cautious there. A gap all the way down to 350. Maybe it fills it down the road, maybe it doesn't. Keep in mind the majority of gaps do get filled. But you know, I believe Terawulf definitely has some juice to run. The last 2 big runs it had over a 200% move. Right now we're sitting at somewhere around a 70-80% move here. Their RSI is overbought. However, there is enough room if the market does want to keep pushing it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Terawulf somewhere around $4.50 to $5. However, perhaps the market wants to cool it down. Perhaps the market wants to retest this previous resistance. Maybe there's a good chance for the market to fill in this gap here. I think if you're looking to get into Terawulf, it'd be a great idea to set some limit buy orders around the fill of this gap. Surprisingly enough, this is one miner that expects an upcoming profitable quarter. Just like others, they do expect a small decrease in revenue, which is okay. We just got through the halving. Many miners expect the same thing. Some miners expect a much bigger drop in revenue. So it's actually nice to see Terawulf only expects roughly a 2-3 million decrease in revenue. Terawulf is looking good. We are riding its golden cross from back in February 2024. The moving averages are curling up. We just broke out of this tightening pattern we've been stuck in for a long time. I showed you guys this on Discord. Sadly, I didn't get in. Hopefully some of you guys noticed that and took advantage. And quickly glancing at Iren, surprisingly, it's not running as much as the others. We did get out of this pattern, but we need to see a close out of this pattern. Iren did break out of this long-term pattern it's been in. Maybe it keeps ripping here. I think Iren by end of year could be $20. I'd expect a pullback before then. We have actually not seen an RSI this overbought on Iren in its history as a traded company. So be careful, don't chase, look for those good dip buys. buy the fear and sell the greed, or hold for longer gains. Totally up to you in the end. Let me know how you guys are feeling today. What do you expect from the FOMC? How do you feel about this Trump news? Like always, I'm completely out of politics. I don't care for either president. They both take lobbying money, and I'll just leave it at that. And thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.